So, after finishing off the series, I found a few more solutions to some of the problems we were just having with exporting the geometry into Blender. Just to refresh you, if you're coming across this video by itself without the rest of them for some reason, the problem we're having is this. You go to import an OBJ file. Let's say it's, I had, okay, the hot dog stand is one that I was having problems with. I go to import it, and boom, I get this error. Now, this error is actually telling me what the problem is. It says could not convert string to float, B, and that, I don't know what this B is, but what you're looking for is in these quotes, this -1 dot pound ind00 blah, 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 blah. It can't convert that into a float. So I Googled around to find out what that actually is. And what I had found is that IND thing, that's really referring to a normal, which the normals are messed up on these anyways and have to be recalculated. So we're not going to care about those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and open this OBJ file with Notepad. And yes, OBJ files can be opened with Notepad. They're clear text, human readable format. So I know the problem starts with pound IND. I can't remember what the whole thing is, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edit, I'm going to find pound IND. Okay, so it found it down here. So here's this pound IND whatever, 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 this -1. I'm actually going to grab this whole thing. I'm going to copy, unselect it, going to go to edit, going to replace, paste that in there, and replace all of the occurrences with 0. So now I'm going to save this as hot dog stand 3. I'll go into here, and as you can see, I now have hot dog stand 3. Put the cursor back where it was. I'm almost doing that. And we are going to go and we're going to import wavefront OBJ hot dog stand 3. And now you can see it imports it. And here is the hot dog stand area. Based on where I was standing when I captured this, it doesn't actually have hot dog stand. There's another file that does. I'll have to go find that. I'll go fix it and I'll work with that later. But what I want to show you is there's a reason we want to do it this way instead of going into Mesh Lab. When we went into Mesh Lab and exported it, every single thing came back as one gigantic object, which forced us to have to go into edit mode, select faces one by one to try to pull objects out and separate them if we needed to. Very much not fun and kind of a pain. Whereas now, as you can see, all the objects are separated. This is his shirt for the guy that was in there when I captured this. So that's his shirt. But what's going to be important here is I'm going to need to, this object is huge, by the way. So you may want to scale it down to something more manageable. For the moment, I'm leaving it as is because it will keep, it doesn't really keep any better detail. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. It's just, it might be easier to work with. I'm going to make some higher quality objects and I'll scale them down as needed. But the point I'm trying to make here is, remember this thing, I had to go into edit mode and then select all the faces one by one to delete all this. Well, now all I have to do is I can select this and I can delete the top and it's gone. All these are their own separate objects the way they're supposed to be. And so now it's pretty easy to just get rid of everything. So, you know, for instance, like this thing here, which is got these lines pointing towards your character. I have no idea why, but I can, whoops, I can just go ahead and box, select all that, delete it. I'm going to box select this and delete it. This is extra geometry that's outside. When you do this capture, it captures everything that the OpenGL port has in its buffer. So sometimes it will capture stuff you can't even see. But this is, for some reason, I don't even know why this is here. I guess in case you jump on top of the wall, you have something to look at through the force field. But for what I'm doing, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. Let's see, that's the building, part of the building. Now, some of these are split up. Like, for instance, this building, if I hide what's selected, not all the building is hidden. And the reason is because these are kind of split up by the way the materials are. So for now, and I will make another tutorial just based on the materials later. And that will be fine. And it didn't get the top part of this wall for some reason, but that's fine. The point being is, let's say you want to extract this platform. What you can do is you can start selecting the parts of it that you want, move it to another layer. You can hide stuff that you don't need. So for instance, I'm just going to box select all of this and hide it. I'm going to box select this side and I'm going to hide it. I'm going to hide the ground, and I'm going to box select all this, and I'm going to move it to this other layer. So now I've got this object here, and because this was, see, even the tree itself, the tree is its own object. So I spent a lot of time last night trying to separate these out myself while I was working on something else trying to do this, and it was such a pain. This is so much easier. It's already an object. If you need to separate it out, or let's say you want to use this tree somewhere else, you can go ahead and do that. It's already its own object. You can just go ahead and watch this. I will go ahead and I will export to an OBJ. I will put it in my OBJ files. I'm going to call it a tree. I'm only going to export what's selected and export. And then now, if I need a tree someplace, I can simply, let's see, come on. If I need a tree, all I have to do is import an OBJ, find my tree, import, and there's my tree all by itself. So there's still a lot of stuff that you would need to do in here. One of the other videos went over how you have to tab into edit mode and you want to remove any doubles. It removes 278 vertices that were doubles. You might want to change the faces to quads if you're using Blender, because Blender likes quads and it's kind of prejudiced against triangles. I don't know why. Those triangles, you know, they're like the filth of Blender world. So anyways, that is what I want to show you. You can basically just go and find that if it starts with #IND, that's referring to a normal, which is going to have to be reflipped anyways, which if you're in Blender, you would go into normals and you can do recalculate outside. That will flip them back out the way they're supposed to be and correct them. If the error is giving you something else, I don't know what to tell you because I haven't encountered it yet. I've only worked with this one file, to be honest. Actually, let's go ahead and see. So I'm here. I was doing this for a reason. I want to go to Alice Park, and I want to show you okay, so let's get out of here. And I don't know why this keeps popping up on me every time I log in. CodeWalker, if you're watching this video, what the hell? Okay, so, oh, there's lots of people here too. All right, let's say we want this object here. Oh, and don't forget to hide all your windows because they get in the way, and you don't want them in the way. Get rid of the tray. Okay, so let's say I want where Miss Liberty is standing. I can Control Shift F, and when she starts moving again, I've got my object. I can go into Blender. I'm going to make a whole new file here. New. Oops. New. Reload startup file. File import. Wavefront OBJ. Trash copy. I'm just going to open the actual file because I'm not going to care about this later. I'm not going to bother saving it. So there's our error. Okay, so what we'll have to do is we'll go into where is trash copy? We will open with Notepad, and this is Atlas Park, so that could take a few minutes to open. We're going to edit, we're going to replace, just happen to be on the clipboard still, replace all that with zeros, replace all. It's done. I'm going to save as, I'm just going to save over the top of it because I don't really care about this file. I know, I mean, I don't care about it. All right, let's see. We're going to go to import OBJ there, and now it should import fine. And there we have it. So this is what you get when you try to import Atlas Park. I get the statue, I got all the stuff around me. What I want is this thing here. And as you can see, now I can just basically, if I box select all that, I get rid of it. Now I can box select all this, and I can, I'm going to make sure nothing else is box select this. It's getting other stuff too. So apparently all these have the same texture, and that's why it's doing that. So, but as you can see, it's still a lot easier. You don't have to worry about the statue. Let's say, okay, let's say you want the statue. Let's do that instead. There's the statue, there's the globe. We're going to File, we're going to Export to a Wavefront OBJ, selected only. We'll go to, I'll put him here. This might be useful for something later on. Atlas statue, export OBJ, load up a new file, restart, file, import OBJ, my files, Atlas statue, and there you have it. You have a statue all by himself. So what I would do now is I would tab into edit mode. I would remove all the doubles. I'm going to clean up the faces, tries to quads, and I'm actually going to transform the, let's see, can't do that. Once I'm in object mode, transform the origin to the geometry, and then do the same thing with this. I'm going to remove all the doubles, mesh, faces, tries to quads, tab, go into here, transform origin to geometry, and then I'm going to create a group, Atlas, and now I can move him around wherever I need to, and there he is, all by himself. So anyways, I hope that was beneficial for somebody to help with fixing that stuff. That noise you hear in the background is the alarm telling me it's time for me to go to my real job. So have fun, and I hope you found this useful.